Thank you for joining me on my podcast. I loved Harry Potter in Chicago, and so I'm super excited to have you on. You are my second tour guest. I just had a third. I had Aiden, and then I had Emmett too. So
Right on. Happy to be here.
thank you. And so for the first part, can you please explain a little bit about yourself for those who don't know who you are?
Totally. My name is Caleb Hafen. I am currently playing James Potter Jr. and James Potter Sr. and Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child on tour.
That's great. And so what was the audition process like for Harry Potter and the Cursed Child on tour?
Great question. For me, it started with a open invite for self tapes on Actors Access, which my agent submitted me for. The submission is basically just your headshot and a reel if you have one on Actors Access. And then the casting director, Carnahan Casting, Alexander Blue, I believe, is over Harry Potter and the Cursed Child over at Carnahan Casting, which is the casting office over Harry Potter. They then look at all the submissions of headshots and they then reply and request self-tape auditions from specific people who they would like to see an audition from. So I got that self-tape request back in, I want to say like October of 2023. I auditioned for Scorpius using the Scorpius monologue. I think it's from like the one of the first scenes where they're in the Hogwarts Express and where Albus and Scorpius meet for the first time. From that, I was called back um, to do. I was an acting callback with Des Kennedy, who's the associate director internationally. Um, did a scene as Albus, and I was called back for uh, Cedric Diggory, Albus understudy. I think was like the title of what I was called back for. So pretty early on, I think they kind of determined where they imagined I fit in the production. Um, and then it was just two rounds of movement callbacks after that, and then a flying assessment. Um, and that was it. Then we found out in like December, I think, of 2023.
That's awesome. And so, you guys are still on your quote unquote first stop on the tour because you're in only Chicago right now. Uh, is there a certain stop you're looking forward to in the coming months?
Yeah, good question. I'm particularly excited about Los Angeles. Chicago is special because my family lives in Chicago, so I got to live with my family here while we've been in Chicago. But we're going to be in LA for just over 4 months, which I've never lived in LA, and I know it's a big industry hub and studios there. Hopefully, build some relationships with some industry professionals, whether it be casting directors, managers, perhaps. Um, People to join the team. I'm interested in writing, and so I'm excited to put some of my writing in front of people and see if uh, there's any interest in those projects or what kind of advice I can get from people about my writing. I don't know. I'm just excited to dive into the Los Angeles scene.
That's awesome. And so, throughout Harry Potter, there's a bunch of special effects used. Without spoiling the show, what is one of your favorite tricks that is performed in the show?
Let's see. I love the Harry Draco duel. I remember when I first watched it, just being really amazed.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that just like struck me with a lot of wonder, and that feeling of wonder, I think, is really special. And I'm glad we're able to give that to people.
And I feel like one of the more popular effects too is the telephone booth one, which is also a super cool effect.
Yeah, super, definitely that one as well. Um, that one also really got me.
Yeah.
I could not figure that one out.
And so, throughout Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, the show runs about 2 hours and 30 minutes with an intermission. Do you have a favorite line and a favorite scene throughout the show? It doesn't have to be one of yours either.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is a good question. Oh goodness. And from like a really genuine place, I really love Ginny and Harry share a scene where Ginny is telling Harry about having to love Albus specifically, and Harry's like, "Of course I love him." Like, and Ginny's like, "Yeah, but you love everybody. Like, you would give your life for everybody. So like, it doesn't matter no matter like it doesn't matter how much you love somebody if they don't feel it. So you have to communicate love in a way that they will feel it in order for it to like even mean anything." Which I think is such a profound lesson and one that I think we can all try to uh, apply perhaps a little bit better every day.
That's awesome. And
Um,
so, oh, sorry.
yeah,
Were you?
no, that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
And so, since it's a tour, I imagine not living in your hometown is a little harder. So, what are some other hardships about living in a tour? Luckily, this one's you guys have long stops, but
Yeah, honestly, Timothy, I have a lot to learn, I think, as far as the hardships of tours might go, because New York was our home where we moved. We moved to New York. We were there for about a year before we got this job and left New York. But I left to go back to like my nuclear family home in Chicago. So I still haven't really left like home yet.
yeah.
So I think LA is going to be my first experience with that. But I grew up moving around a lot. So I'm not necessarily nervous about it. Um, I'm really just excited. I don't think transitions are hard for me. I think I really look forward to the building of network that can happen in every city. I think that's probably different when you only have 3 to 6 weeks in a city, kind of
Yeah.
less time to like really grow roots there. But at least for this first year of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, we can really grow some deep roots in each of the cities that we're in.
Because you've been here since September, August, right?
Yeah, end of August.
Yeah,
Yeah,
end of
yeah.
August. Yeah, that's awesome. And so, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Gosh, I think I would tell my younger self to just like stay the course. I think I was really nervous about like the decisions I was making moving forward. I wasn't sure like where they would land me necessarily, but I did my best to um, diversify uh, my interests. So I felt pretty aware of like insecurity that exists in the performance industry as far as job security goes. So I did kind of like give myself the space to study um, medicine in college, and that's something that I plan to go into. But as I leaned more into performance during my, I decided I would love to try to give it a shot. Um, and so I think I would just tell myself to like trust the decisions you're making. Like it's yeah, I don't know. I was proud of the decisions I made, and I think I uh, wished I felt that pride more as I was making those decisions. Of course, it's easier to say that now, like just 2020 hindsight, but like, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And so, talking about past self, what got you into acting when you were younger?
Um, I think my mom had like enrolled me in like a theater camp thing when I was like young, like elementary school age. I think I played like Spider Boy in some like summer camp thing, and I really loved it. It was a lot of fun, but that was just like a one-off kind of experience. I think my mom sensed a lot of like performative energy from me, but I didn't really like uh, engage in theater of my own accord until I was cut from the basketball team my sophomore year of high school. I was a new kid at a high school in New Jersey, and I think was hungry to uh, connect with people, and I thought basketball was going to be the way to do that. But alas, it was not. So my English teacher, Jeff Hogan, was very instrumental in kind of encouraging me to um, be a part of the cast of the fall play and the spring musical at school. And so I did that and didn't really look back after that. I kept performing. I thought I was going to stop after high school, but then Similarly, in my first year of college, I had a couple friends who just were randomly in my new student orientation group that encouraged me to audition and keep theater a part of my life, um, if not full time, at least extracurricularly. Um, and I think that changed everything. Encouragement from other people can really change the course of a life.
Yeah, that's great. And so, what advice would you give to other teenagers and children who want to pursue acting as a career full time?
Yeah, it is a really good question. Um, the advice I would give, and not to like steer anybody away from the craft, but more to aid in the craft, is to take up interests that are outside of just theater and acting. I think every experience I've had outside of the industry has been extremely insightful to how I apply acting in general, and just connecting to like a variety of human experiences, I think is really important. Um, I think valuing family is so important. I think so much of the art we create is about family because that's what it's one of the more universal concepts I think we can grasp onto as humans. Um, and so it's always been interesting to me sometimes I think to watch actors engage in really family centered material, but then perhaps not have the strongest family life themselves. Um, so I think prioritizing family, which a lot of the actors do in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, is is an important piece of advice I think for everybody going into this field to consider. I think.
That's awesome. And so that's for the question portion, but I've done this with Emmett and I've done this with the person who played Albus in the Broadway production, but I have the Harry Potter script here. And we're gonna do a little guess the line.
Oh no! Oh
Yeah.
no! Oh no!
So so
Oh
wait, who do
no!
you cover? You cover Albus, right?
I do cover Elvis,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Uh and so we'll start towards the beginning-ish. Uh and I don't know what's cut and what's not because this is the two-part version.
I
Uh
know.
But Haley starts with you're uncooperative in lessons. You're surely you're
We're uncooperative in lessons. Oh goodness, I think this this may I don't know. I don't know, Timothy. I don't know.
it may have been cut because I honestly don't remember this in the show. But you would say so. What would you like me to do? Magic myself popular.
Yeah, that is indeed cut from the show.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, yeah, no, that's great. This is good. This is also revealing that I should know more of the two part, perhaps.
And so the next one comes from Act One, Scene 16, but that's Act One, Scene 16 in part one. And so Scorpius
Right, right,
says
right.
so. He says so. We just take it, and you say Scorpius.
These would also be foreign lines to me, I think.
Scorpius,
I'm
do I need to
I
explain to you, potions expert, what Polyjuice does?
Gosh, yeah, I've never heard those lines before.
Wow. Let's see then.
That's so fun.
And so we'll do from trying to find some scenes. Okay. Scorpius says, it's you, and you say it's weird though.
Oh, it's weird though. I thought I saw Cedric start to expand, but then he sort of started shrinking again. And I looked at you and you had your wand out.
That is correct.
Good, good, good. I got one in the books.
Yeah. Scorpius says, Albus, Psst, Albus, Albus.
Um, the Dolores Umbridge
Uh,
approach and say Scorpius Malfoy, or what is this?
Albus says pleasant. That's a pleasant and not scary way to wake up.
Nope,
That's
do
cut
not
too.
know that.
Man,
Yeah, yeah, that is also cut. The only other time I think, well, the only time I'm familiar with Scorpius yelling Albus is when he comes from the lake, and then
comes
Albus
from
doesn't
yeah, it
exist
comes from the
anymore,
lake. Yeah.
and Umbridge approaches. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, okay. Let's see. So this, Delphi says, uh, the third task is clean. So let's start there, shall we?
Um, we won't, we won't obey you.
Yes,
We won't stop him.
that is correct.
Good, good, good. Great. I do feel confident in the material that has remained
Yeah.
in the show.
I was telling who was it? I was telling Aiden. I was telling him. I said they need to make a script for with you guys pets. When I interview you guys,
Totally,
I can do it easier.
totally, totally.
Uh, so I think this one is definitely in it. Uh, Scorpius says, but we don't have an owl that can fly through time, and he doesn't have a time turner.
Um, we get a message to Dad. He'll find a way to get back here, even if he has to build a time turn himself.
That is correct.
Brilliant.
Ron says, so let me get this right. We're fighting to protect Voldemort.
Um, she's coming at 24 hours early because she isn't sure when he'll arrive and in what direction. The history books, correct me if I'm wrong, show nothing about when and how he arrived in Godric's Hollow.
That is correct.
Ah, this is fun. This is good review, Timothy. I need this.
Jenny says, I know it is, or I hope I do. I just don't want to see him.
This I am unfamiliar.
Unfamiliar?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. Uh, uh, Albus notices his mom sitting up. He walks over to, you start the scene. You say it's,
I don't know if I know this.
it's gonna be okay. You do know that, mom, right?
Yeah, no, never heard that line before.
So they cut out a lot of the two part then.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the show currently it runs, I think, like 2 hours and 55 minutes with intermission, I think.
In Chicago
And
or on Broadway?
in Chicago,
Okay.
it is nearly 3 hours, not quite
Yeah, I
three
was like,
hours long.
I'm pretty sure on Broadway it was like 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. And they've condensed it even more since then.
Yeah,
And I don't know what the runtime was of the initial two-part version, but my guess is about, I imagine, maybe a little, maybe like 60% of the production is still what it was, I
yeah,
think. But there's also been a lot of moving around of scenes. Like some scenes have been cut, and then a couple of those lines from that scene that was cut
Be-
was then inserted into a different scene.
yeah. Because there's a lot of scenes that have like Harry as a child that they cut, so then they don't have to have child actors.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so let's do one more. You should be able to get this scene because this is from the final scene. So,
Such a comforting thing to hear. I hope so. I hope I get it.
uh, Harry says, "Yeah, whether you like it or not, you're on your way to being some wizard."
Oh, I'm not going to be a wizard. I'm going into pigeon racing.
That is correct. And so that was
Nice.
today's interview. Thank you for joining me. And for the audience, you guys have until this weekend to see Caleb in Harry Potter in Chicago, or you can catch him at the what theater is it in California? Is it?
It is the
It
Pantages.
is the Pantages.
Yes.
Nice, nice, nice. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Timothy. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too. Bye bye.